Who is the strongest and biggest out of Dylan and his friends?
Me.
Put the gun down, Dylan. Please put the gun down.
Alright, what's going on, guys? So, we are in rock bottom right now with James. This is the second time I'm now recording this because Grant fucked up. No, I'm just kidding, yeah. This is the second time because the audio was
Off.
It was off, basically. Grant pulled a corn. But anyways, yeah, we're about to do a Q&A right now because, like I said already, this is the second time I'm saying this. Every single time James is in a video, you guys are always like commenting. You guys want to hear James's perspective on some stuff. So we're finally going to do a Q&A. We're going to do a Q&A. So we're just going to talk about some stuff. Hopefully stuff that you guys have never heard us go over before. So it's some new information for you. You can find it interesting. Can learn a little something from it. And before we get into the video, I want to say we're going to answer a few more questions for James's channel specifically, which he's going to be creating his first video very soon. So if you guys want to go sub and you haven't already, then just click the link down below. But all right, now I'm just gonna pull the questions up. I screenshotted them so it doesn't take forever to go through. So we're gonna start small. It's a simple question. And people want to know that I know, so like a lot of this stuff, like me and James have like talked about extensively. It's like something that, I don't know, like I've been through this whole like supplement like thing forever. Like I've taken all the supplements, he's taken all the supplements, you've seen a million people take all the supplements. So, but we're gonna start with a supplement question. And it's gonna be 1,3-dimeth. How much is good? How much is bad? What's good with 1,3 DMAA? If you want to start off with that,
Okay.
take it where you want to take it.
I would say usually you're going to see anything between 50 and 75 milligrams of DMAA in a conventional dose of something.
A dose that's not going to kill somebody.
A dose
to
is
make
not
them
going to
feel
kill
good.
somebody, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like, also, what do you think? Because I feel like people, ever since like Dave and I have started taking DMAA pre's back, like whatever, and talking about it, everyone always wants a pre-workout with it in there, and they think it's like the end-all, be-all, best stimulant you could ever fucking be on. Would you say that like DMAA is like the best stimulant that can be in a pre-workout, or is it just like?
Well, I think it adds something extra. If you
Yeah.
want something beyond just caffeine, or you want something with a little more energy, but you don't want to start doubling or tripling your caffeine,
Yeah.
the DMAA is going to give you more energy and also a smoother effect. It's going to feel more mental.
And the other thing is, would you say that DMAA clones are like, aren't there a few of the clones that are?
Amp citrate and the DMHA.
Yeah, are those pretty much just as good as DMAA? Would you
You're going to
say?
feel pretty similar, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, honestly, guys, there's basically like, wait, what's it called? What are the clones?
DMHA and amp citrate.
Yeah, DMHA,
DMHA.
DMHA, and then amp citrate,
Right.
citrate, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Those are like two clones of DMAA, and they're all good. Basically, at the end of the day, I get this asked all the time. That's why I wanted to answer it. But around 50 to 75 milligrams of 1,3 is okay. I've seen people take like 100, 120 milligrams. I would never recommend it. But yeah, 1,3 is great. Or if you can find a pre-workout with those other two clones in it, you could look those up. You'll probably more likely to find it because DMAA is banned, and so like most companies aren't using it anymore. Even like the more underground companies, I feel like probably use a clone rather than just DMAA. So yeah.
I was going to say, and with the DMHA, you want to look for about 150 milligrams and 200
A
milligrams.
little bit more, okay.
That's usually what you see eventually. Also, the DMHA takes a little bit longer to kick in, guys, so you might want to take a little bit further out from your workout.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, you don't want to be like fucking taking that.
Peaking.
Yeah. Okay, next one. All right, so the next question, which I get asked pretty much on a daily basis, is can gear be taken safely? And before we get into talking about any of the stuff that we're about to talk about, I want to say, James right here and myself, we are not doctors, so any of the things that you hear us say right now are 100% false, and you shouldn't listen to any of the advice. Go to your doctor, ask him the same question. But with my limited knowledge, the way that I would open that question, can gear be taken safely, is basically it can be taken in a safer manner, but I don't think that like you can always, I mean, it's always safer, right? It's safer to not take anything, because when you're putting it in your body, you never really know exactly how your body's going to react to it. Do you have a predisposition to a heart disease, prostate cancer? Are there health issues in your family? Are you going out and living a lifestyle where you're drinking on a weekly basis, eating Wendy's, not getting your micronutrients, not doing your cardio, not eating whole foods, and drinking mainly water, basically living a healthy lifestyle? I mean, there's a lot of variables that go into it, but I don't know, that's kind of what I would say to it. Like, what would you say about like going about taking it a more safer way would probably be like what in your eyes?
Well, also, if you want to think more specifically, the less stuff that you take, the safer it's going to be by definition.
Yeah.
So the more stuff you pile onto it, the more likely you are to have an adverse reaction. But to put it in perspective a different way, we're talking about things that are drugs or drug-like, right? So aspirin kills people. Non-steroidal anti-inflammatories kill people every year by the thousands. So any drug that you take has risks. And that's not to make this thing look safer, but to show you that there's nothing that's completely safe.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, honestly, exactly that. I would just say taking the absolute lowest amount, and also making sure you're always getting blood work done beforehand, before you touch anything at all ever. Not that I recommend you do touch anything at all ever. I don't recommend that. But if you were to do that, getting your blood work done before you ever touch anything, so you know where your levels are as a natural, where you're healthy, where you feel good, where you have energy, a sex drive, all that. You need to make sure you know where that is, so that in the future, if you do have issues, you can reference back to that to be able to get back to a normal state. But yeah, don't take any of that advice. Okay, the next question. I actually like this question a lot.
What?
Because I know a lot about this, but not as much as I would like. James's lifting experience. What is your lifting experience? When did you start lifting?
Interesting.
When did you start lifting and stuff like that?
Well, I did martial arts as a child, so there was a lot of push-ups and pull-ups and all that kind of stuff, right? And then after that, I probably started lifting. Well, okay, the first tragic thing that happened to me, I got fat in junior high.
Oh God.
Okay?
Wait, did you get fat in junior high, or were you like a chunky kid growing up? Like, were you like?
I was a big kid growing up. Like,
okay.
I was always one of those people that was like the top 3 size.
Okay.
In size
And then it turned a little bit into like.
Well, I ate too much food.
Okay.
Okay, let's face it. I just stuffed my face full of food. Okay. And I got fatter.
Stealing people's lunch.
And I got basically.
Were you a bully, James?
Yeah, right. No, I got fatter in junior high, and then I figured this really sucks. And I didn't know anything about dieting, so basically I just starved myself and started running, and went from like basically being able to run a block to like 7 miles on the beach.
Yeah.
And then I always had really big legs. It's kind of off topic a little bit.
Yeah.
And I always wanted to get my upper body to match that. So about like my freshman year in high school, I started lifting, and I just got really lucky because I got some really, really good tips really quickly. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just started growing from there.
And then at that, like, what were like, just because I know people are probably super curious, like, what were your best, like, at any point, like, numbers that you can remember, or even like your best at any point, like shape, like weight wise to like whatever, what would you say?
Well, I guess to say something cheesy, but I won the senior class for best body.
Yeah. But I'm saying, like, what was your best, like, that you remember of, like, bench, squat, deadlifty type numbers?
Well, you know what? I never really did a lot of power stuff. I never really
Okay, so you were more bodybuilding?
I just worked out. Do you know what I mean? But, I did 315 for 4 my senior year in high school.
Okay. Jeez.
You know what I mean? I was 137 pounds my freshman year in high school.
That's what I was.
I was about 205, 210 when I graduated my senior year. And at that point, I was actually pretty big. And not as lean as you guys are, though.
Yeah, but still, that's still 13 before senior year. That's pretty fucking good.
All
right,
but I never really squatted stuff like that. Actually, I didn't do a lot of legs because I always had just big legs.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They were just leg dominant.
Okay, so the next question is, how do you get through the hunger pains and keeping your diet clean? And this is actually, like, I think you guys are going to get a lot of valuable information here.
You don't.
Huh? Yeah, you don't. No, I think also, what I would say to that is, like, I know that you as well, like to try to keep your diet for most of the year, like, clean, and, like, you're not just fucking gorging yourself. You eat clean.
Right.
You want to eat like shit, like everybody else does, but don't most of the time. So what I would say, like, to get through hunger pains, honestly, it just comes down to, like, setting a goal. Like, you just have to basically tell yourself like, okay, I want to get into a certain shape, and you have to expect that you're gonna feel like shit, but to get to that certain spot that you want to get to, it's just simply unnecessary evil. And the other thing is, guys, if you're not trying to like push yourself into single digit body fat, if you're tracking your calories and you're eating good whole foods, eating a lot of fiber, drinking enough water, like, you know, having 0-calorie drinks, or using hot sauces, or just like little things like that, it can help. It can go a long way. So what I would say is just try to find as many 0-calorie hot sauces that you like as possible. Learn how to cook meat the right way, because that helps a lot. Always make sure you're drinking enough water, getting a lot of fiber in, and honestly, yeah, just setting a goal for yourself and not being a fucking pussy at the end of the day, because it is hard. It's just simply hard. I mean, like, I want to go home right now and cry in my room and eat cookies and milk, but I'm not going to do it.
You know who will be?
Who?
Corn.
Okay. He probably is.
All right, I got a couple of tips for you. Okay, around March of last year, I was about 257, and I really didn't have as much muscle mass as I do right now. Right now, I'm about down to 220, so I've been dieting literally for almost an entire year plus right now, you know, and then trying to recomp the muscle. So let me give you some tips. If you only have a month to diet, suck it up, guys.
Yeah.
Just suck it up. I mean, if you only have to lose 10 to 15 pounds, yeah, you're fine. But if you have some serious weight that you need to lose, or like he said, you want to get down to single digits, there are some tricks for appetite suppression. One, believe it or not, high dose vitamin D tends to kill your appetite. In fact, high dose vitamin D, for some reason, will almost absolutely just destroy your appetite. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. And there's been some studies that people found that the higher the vitamin D level that they had, the better the fat loss was. So if you do 20,000 IUs of vitamin D a day, which is pretty benign actually, it should really act as an anorectic. And if you do that every other day after a while, that should keep your vitamin D levels pretty stable. A second trick that I've learned over the time is, did you ever notice that when you start eating, you start getting hungry? Like if you eat first thing in the morning, you're hungry 3 hours later.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, you skip a meal, you're not really hungry till you start eating, right? So I don't want to call it intermittent fasting, because that's such just a term nowadays.
Fad.
But what I do nowadays, guys,
if you don't need to eat, don't eat. Basically.
Exactly. I advanced my first meal segment, because I just call them meal 1, 2, 3, 4, into where I would normally eat my second or third meal. So if I wake up 9 o'clock that morning, I may not eat till 3 o'clock that afternoon, and I'm only going to eat my 4 meals anyway. And the reason why I do that is because I'm a night feeder. I like to eat at night. So I know I'm going to eat at night no matter what, right? So I work backwards from my last meal to my first meal so my calories match.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing too is, if you're one of those people that get hungry from carbs, cut your carbs.
Because it can ramp your metabolism in a sense. Like,
and your blood sugar goes up and everything like that, and you just start getting hungry.
Yeah. So basically, in a sense, I think what you're saying really is like, I mean, if you want to get the same overall amount of calories you need to stay light or to lose weight, essentially, it doesn't have to be intermittent fasting. I mean, if you're a person who, like, when you wake up in the morning, you want to gorge out on fucking all this breakfast food, and like that's your thing, and towards the night you don't have an issue, basically you could eat most of your food before, and if you feel like you perform amazing with a lot of food in your system in the gym, eat in the morning, and then towards the end of the night, that's not fair to hold that Snickers up. But yeah, towards the end of the night, right, then, you know, if you're not usually hungry before bed, then you know that, and you'll eat more in the early in the day. It doesn't have to be this like intermittent fasting, I don't eat for 8 hours. Like, essentially, he's just saying, if you're not starving, don't fucking eat, so that when you are starving, you can eat more and be more satiated and fucking not binge out. Yeah,
basically you can control when you're actually eating. You know what I mean?
Okay, this question, I mean, I hope that you answer this one properly, James. Who is the strongest and biggest out of Dylan and his friends?
Put the gun down, Dylan. Please put the gun down. Dylan, definitely, without a doubt.
Oh, jeez. Well, look, if this was, let's just say, somebody else's channel, could it be a different answer?
You know what? In all fairness, I've really never compared your guys' strengths directly.
Yeah.
So it would be hard.
I think it's kind of hard to, when just say strongest or biggest?
Strongest and biggest.
I think it's the strongest. But the thing is, you can't really compare either, like...
Your body weights and everything.
I mean, well, because
your heights are different.
Yeah. Heights, well, you can still compare, and basically, I'm the strongest and biggest, but, that's fine. Yeah.
Dude, that guy's gonna have his way.
I just thought that was
with
a
this
funny
video.
question.
Yeah, but he did.
All right.
And all your egos are so fragile. I don't know.
I know. So if it was Dave's channel, it'd be Dave. If it was Quinn's channel, it'd be Quinn. Yeah, it's fine though. That's cool. All right.
If it was Nick's channel, definitely wouldn't be Nick.
Tragic.
Taking a nap, dude. Take back.
Okay, hold on. Let's see.
What else you got?
This is okay. So first time meeting James, what was the conversation like? I don't think you probably don't remember the first time I came in here. I'm assuming. Do you remember? Because I know.
The very first time I remember you. I don't remember the first time necessarily that it was.
So when was the first time you remember remember a conversation or something?
I think we went back when you used to come in with the whole group, not just Dave, but Deshaun. Is that correct?
Deshaun. Who was it?
Deshaun.
Oh wait, Hasham. You mean?
That was it. Whatever.
James is literally fucking tragic with names. Like you could, like my name's Dan, and he'll literally just, fucking what's up, Frank? Like it's just like.
Well, I remember your life story.
Yeah, life story, but the name, forget about it. But yeah.
Any consolation.
So
I
I dated
a girl for 6 months one time. I called her house and asked for the wrong name.
That literally that's is it Ash or Ashley or?
I said it with a great deal of charm.
Is it Ashley? No.
Like, oh hey,
it's
babe, hey,
Sarah.
Karen. Yeah, it's bad. But anyway, but what do you remember from that? Like I'm saying, like early memories of me. It was like the whole group.
Yeah, I remember you talking about actually getting stronger. I think more than anything else.
Yeah.
What do you remember?
Well, I'm saying like I think it used to be like a whole group of us.
Yeah.
Like not as many of those people probably still come to Island and stuff.
Yeah.
Remember it was like
Jonah.
there was like Jonah, Alex Primo,
Yes, Alex
Corey.
Primo, I
Well,
remember
Corey's back now, but
I don't
Corey
remember
was
that.
around. Fucking
Right.
Hasham,
Right.
Richie.
Yes.
Yeah, we had a whole squad. But basically, okay, the first time that I had ever met James and really knew who he was I remember I was in high school. I forget. I think I was a sophomore, potentially. Yeah, I was a sophomore in high school. It was like when I first started lifting, and I found out what pro hormones were. Like I had no idea what pro hormones were at all. So I'm like, holy fuck! Like this is what all the kids on the football team are taking. Like I need to get huge. Like I loved lifting. I am still a hypochondriac in a way. Like I come in here all the time. I'm like, fucking James. Like what's wrong? I'm gonna die. Like whatever for no reason. But basically, I come in here because I hear they have pro hormones. So I ride my bike 3 miles, and I'm like, I have to go check this shit out. I heard that they have those here. So I came here to like check it out. And I remember Kay, who I'm friends with now. Like I see him here all the time. Kay was in here, and he's just this big fucking dude. And I'm sitting there like, oh, this dude's huge. Like I want to look like him too. This. And I remember, just coming in here and badgering you about all that type of stuff. Mm-hmm. And you were kind of just like, I don't know, I forget exactly what you said about it, but I just remember that was my first time ever coming in here that I can remember, was coming in here because I was like, I want to get fucking huge. But I was too scared to take anything, and I was like, yeah, no, I'm not going to do it. So I didn't end up doing it. I think I just like fucking bought a mass gainer and went home, cried, and was small for the next few years. But that's my first memory.
The problem is, guys, when you first started coming in here, you were so small that it was difficult for me to see you. And then eventually as you got bigger, I could actually, like, you just actually would.
You could physically, we weren't just specks in the middle of the fucking
yeah, like
galaxy.
when you turned sideways, you would just like look like a two-dimensional being and just disappear. Like,
we just like weren't even here, yeah.
And all of a sudden, you just appeared one day because you were big enough to like catch my attention.
And you're like, oh, okay, shit, yeah, I guess. Oh yeah, that is a person.
Otherwise, you're just like disembodied voices.
Just some small fucking. Like,
so have you met my friend Nick yet?
No, no.
He's big enough.
Okay, the next question. This one you guys can actually get some value from. Okay. No, it's actually not. No, it's just how long should I bulk for if I'm a teenager? And like
forever.
Forever, yeah. Honestly, you can start this one off.
The biggest thing people don't realize is that 80% of your gains for the first 3 years is all your food, and everybody gets this wrong. So usually what'll happen is you'll be 2, 3, 4 years in before you realize you need to eat. So as far as bulking, let's put that in perspective. Bulking, I'm assuming that you're a pretty lean guy to begin with, so you need to maintain a calorie deficit. You need to maintain a calorie surplus and get about 1 gram per pound of protein. That's not actually completely accurate, but it's a good thing to shoot for. Yeah. And do that for 3 or 4 years. Exactly. Now, the only time you slow that down is if you see a really big layer of body fat.
Well, you could just, but like at that point, what I would do, right, is basically, I recommend, if you're a teenager and you're not overweight, if you're like like if you're under 20%, under 25% body fat, I honestly recommend that during your teenage years you use those years to really just pack muscle on and not worry about being shredded. Like, you can pull back your calories to more of a maintenance and like start doing some cardio here and there, like trim up a little bit. But honestly, I bulked pretty much for like 3 to 4 years. I mean, like, and I would recommend you do that because staying in a surplus is the more anabolic your body's going to be, the more muscle your body's going to put on. And in your teenage years, you can build a fuckload of muscle because your testosterone is just fucking peaking out. It's ridiculously high. So I recommend just using that and fucking eating a lot of food and just being in a surplus for as long as you possibly can handle, not like going without having abs. And honestly, if you do that for 3 or 4 years and then you cut down, you're gonna thank yourself because you won't look like a fucking number 2 pencil in a t-shirt. You'll actually look like you lift in a t-shirt, not just when you have a monster pump in the gym. So, because I see that all the time. People that was always my thing. Like, I wanted to be a big guy. I wanted to look big. And so if I was 2 years into lifting and I tried to cut down to the body fat I am now, I would literally look like a fucking piece of paper sideways. You know what I mean? Like, it would not be there. So, bulk forever.
Yeah, think about it this way. They said the average trainee that eats properly should be able to put on 25 to 30 pounds their first year, half that their second year, and half that their third year. That's like 50 pounds in 3 years. 70% of my customer base that comes in here, and I'm making these numbers up, by the way, 70% of my customer base that comes in here doesn't attain their full size. And one of the worst things that can happen to you, especially as a teenager, is if you start out too lean. Because you'll go home and you're the only person in the mirror and you're looking at your abs and you look all muscular to yourself, but you're 5'8" and you're 140 pounds. So no matter how muscular you look, you're pretty tiny.
You're a tiny man.
James, were you there with me? What happened?
So you need to eat those calories you need to gain that weight.
All right, guys. So I'm gonna end the video right here because we could go on forever. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video, leave a like, leave a comment. And yeah, go subscribe to James. We're gonna finish up with some more questions for his channel, and see you guys in the next one. All right, that's good.